Hello and welcome. In this video, I want to talk about this idea of toxic positivity. And I'm sure there's articles written about it. I haven't read them, but it's kind of how I'm thinking about it, what I see in the world, what I see in people. And um, would like to bring some clarity to this idea, and maybe dispel a misconception about it. So, the main distinction I want to make is the difference between processing your feelings versus choosing to feel differently. So, the what I'm calling toxic positivity has to do with when people say, "Oh, if you're feeling angry or if you're feeling, I don't know, negative," right? The word is negative. That's so commonly used. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling some kind of sadness or despair or depression or whatever, you will hear it said, well, just choose to feel differently, change your mind, right? As if it were so easy, as if you hadn't thought of it, right? So that to me is an oversimplification of this issue. I'm just going to minimize myself here. It's an oversimplification of the issue. Um, so I want to make that distinction between choosing to feel differently, which is sometimes appropriate and possible, and on the other hand, processing your feelings instead, right? It's their actual feelings. When you, so on the side of processing feelings, right? So let's say you find yourself feeling mucky, is a word I like to use. You feel crappy, you feel maybe just kind of grumpy and annoyed at things, and you kind of don't know why. So this is the place where you'll be told by whatever gurus, just change your mind and feel better, right? Well, before you try that, check in with yourself. This is the work, right? You check in with yourself to see whether you are actually feeling something that is relevant, but you've potentially kind of pushed away. Because, each feeling in itself, if you were to be aware when it's coming and watch its wave and then have it be over, as you fully experience it, it's not going to last for hours and hours. It's going to last for seconds. So if you fully allow a feeling, it moves through you, you're aware of it, and then it's over. So if you're walking around and it's something is weighing on you, or you're just like, some version of what's called negative, there may be something that you have neglected to pay attention to, and it's potentially just habitual. There may have been too much going on. This is not a fault issue. This is not like, oh, you didn't feel your feelings. This is, you know, uh, just part of being human. But check in with yourself first. Was there a piece of mail that actually upset you that you didn't realize was more upsetting than you thought? Is there a text message you received that was triggering on some level that you just kind of said to yourself, oh, I'm not going to give this person the benefit, or I'm not going to forget it, but really it actually affected you? Did you have a conversation with somebody where they said something kind of vaguely minimizing, but it actually triggered a feeling for you? So that I would say, and this is what I do for myself, check in there first. Check in with, is there something I'm missing? And very often there will be, especially if you have found yourself feeling mucky all of a sudden, like you're having a good day, everything was going all right. And then you kind of go, why do I feel like this? And if you slow down and trace back to the last few things you experienced, or kind of what happened throughout the course of the day, you potentially will find, I often do find it's usually a small thing that I kind of pushed away because I didn't think it mattered. And then there's, oh, wait, I actually feel some kind of way about it. I actually need to just pay attention to it, maybe process it, right? So that is an important step because it acknowledges that your feelings are real. Now, if you've done that, and also if you're in the habit of doing that and that's your always your first step, and you still find yourself being negative, right? Feeling, and that is a real, it is a real experience. It's not just air quotes. It's you do kind of walk around with this like everything is bad. You want to negate everything. You know, no matter what good there is in the world, you feel mucky. You feel kind of like what's the point, or whatever, nothing's good anyway, or next tax bill's coming, whatever. You know what I'm saying, right? So, but if you've checked with yourself and this is a habitual feeling, so nothing's triggered you recently, um, but it's kind of like a general life sense where you go, oh, gotta go to work, gotta pay bills, gotta, ugh, my partner wants something, and the kids, and the fridge, and the thing is broken, and and you find yourself kind of negating everything and having a hard time finding gratitude and feeling the joy of in anything. That would be a place to consciously feel differently. And there are a few ways to do that, and I'm going to share with you a few that I've written down. But again, make sure that it is not something that you're actually needing to process. And the thing is, you may need to process it anyway, and you may need to choose to feel differently in the moment anyway. But pin it, at least kind of put a pin in it and go, oh, okay, when I got that text, it was really annoying because I told this person not to text me, and I just decided to ignore them. But anyway, there may be something to process. Anyway, so I hope I haven't rambled too much because I feel like I think those two areas kind of overlap, and that's what makes it difficult. And I'm trying to create a little bit of a artificial distinction. In my to my sense, in my mind, there actually is a real distinction because I felt it internally. Sometimes I will wake up with a feeling, or sometimes it's just like everything goes well, and then I'm like, I feel like that, and I just don't want to do anything, or I don't want to engage with anything, or I just want to deny it or negate it or whatever. And there's always something to process there, but still, it's a habitual feeling. I think that is the key word, is if you are used to this feeling, if this is your go-to feeling, you tend to feel confused, and whatever happens, you just feel confused, or you tend to feel depressed. And I'm not talking about a clinical depression with all the symptoms. I'm talking about the kind of low grade, everything sucks feeling. And check my previous video about why everything sucks is a true feeling too. Why, at least what's happening right now in May and June of 2022. And right, things are crumbling. And so, yeah, everything sucks sometimes. Anyway, to get back to my thing about choosing to feel differently, you may decide that you've either processed something and set it aside, in which case your mood should just lift, or you've put a pin in it and decided you're going to process it later, or you've realized, you know what, this is just a thing I habitually feel. I'm going to keep exploring it overall, but right now I'm actually going to choose to feel differently. And so you can listen to some music that you love, that is uplifting, no death metal or whatever, unless that really uplifts you, which is hard for me to wrap my mind around. But whatever, this isn't about me. This is about what works for you. So if there is something that uplifts you, that is inspiring in some way and joyous in some way, music has a way of accessing a part of your brain that you cannot with words, that you cannot access with words. And so music can be amazing. Classical music is phenomenal, but that's just what I like. Musicals, right? The actual soundtracks but any kind, if there's whatever style of music that moves you, that is energizing, that is fun, that is uplifting. It doesn't have to be upbeat. It can be slow and pretty, but you can also listen to a podcast or a talk of some sort where you are actually inspired not just by the words that the person is saying, but also by the way that they are, the way they hold themselves. I've listened to talks by people where I don't even know what they said. I kind of wasn't even listening. I mean, I was, but I wasn't like, oh, taking notes and taking it in that way. But I was taking in their energy. And it's really palpable when someone speaks and they're present in themselves and they're connected and they are speaking their truth. It changes you as you listen, because you attune, you resonate like guitar strings. You connect to their energy, and you actually, if you're going to talk in terms of frequencies, because everything is frequency, your frequency rises to that of theirs. And I find that a really, really wonderful method. Also actually helps you feel less alone, especially if you find to talk about something that you're struggling with. It helps you feel less alone because here's someone speaking about it directly. And then another method I learned from a class, from a teacher, is I really like this one. Is you can say, it doesn't even have to be out loud, but it can be high frequency words. But don't just read a list, right? Actually feel them. So literally make a list that works for you and pull it out. And it's like words like love, joy, connection, presence, right? Gratitude, beauty. You see where I'm going with this. Even words like music, right? Learning, mandalas, nature, animals. Words, they don't have to be emotion words. They don't have to be like happy, joy. They can be, but this is why I included some of these others. But words that refer to high frequency experiences or images or beings in the world, right? You can say angels, you can say God, you can say prayer, anything that is a high frequency word. And you will find, I feel it right now as I'm saying them, my internal space has lifted just from saying them, because I felt them as I said them, most of them. So that's a really useful method, which you can use even when you do need to process something. And the only issue is that don't use that to suppress, because ultimately, if you suppress something, it's going to come back and bite you. It's just going to come back and insist on itself. And the next day, you're going to feel more depressed until you find what it is and actually deal with it. So I hope that this made sense. It makes sense in my head. My goal is to make it make sense to you. Let me know if you're listening to this, if you have other ideas, if this distinction makes sense, or if there's something that you feel, some nuance that you feel that needs to be added in here. I always look forward to your comments. I've been really grateful to those of you who commented already on the first 3 videos. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Take care.